After over 10 years of World of Tanks Blitz, we might get to the biggest update just yet. And this one is going to be absolutely major, as we are shifting from the internal engine of World of Tanks Blitz to Unreal Engine 5, which is going to lead to a lot of new graphic updates, but also a couple of other updates are coming along with it, and those have stirred up a lot of controversy on Discord and on the comments on YouTube already. Wargaming just released a teaser about the next update. Keep in mind, it's not the next update, it is a very big update that is yet to come. It is unlikely to be the very next one. We have a bit of information, I'm going to tell you more about that in a second. Let's take a look at the teaser and talk about everything that we know so far on this video. So for a first look here, this is the teaser that Wargaming released on their own website, on their own Discord and on YouTube of course, and we can see already some pretty stuff here. Be in mind, this is a teaser and we know from multiple teasers in the past that Wargaming is not necessarily showing exactly what the game is looking like, but rather making it look a lot better. So although we do see a couple of fellas on the tanks here, some Fortnite people just sitting on tanks here, it's just unlikely that that is going to be. Later on in the teaser we still see some game footage, how it's actually going to look like. This is just for the purpose of demonstration here, just to have something pretty to show. We have already seen this map, by the way, on the last teaser. Let me just move over there. This one we have already seen. This is the map of Canal with an excavator in the middle there, and of course we can see some fancy animations that are not going to make it into the final release, because that is just there to make everything look good here for us on this trailer. Also we can see another map, and we don't even have to guess what map it is. It is Altenstadt, as we can see here on that title on the billboard there. Also that really looks great. We've not seen that one on the last trailer yet. Altenstadt, it's really nice, also with that rail on top, that monorail there. Yeah, okay. And some fancy tanks here. They don't really tell us much, but now we get to see some other stuff that is actually impacting the game. Maybe a flipping tank there. It's still not really game footage just yet, but rather something a bit more cinematic there. And now we are getting to the actual game. Just a quick interruption here. I know this is a very controversial topic and many people are very invested in this game, emotionally as well as financially, and they want to put out their opinions. So please just keep it civil in the comments, but I would be very pleased to hear your opinions about what you feel like this update is going to bring, what you think where the game is going to go, but also keep in mind that so far our knowledge is very limited and we don't know the final version just yet. So to all the doomers, maybe just don't take it too far, please. So just to mind you here, this is quite important that so far we've not really seen the actual game, but some edited and manufactured footage that is not really what we are going to end up with. But now we are getting to the actual game footage here. So we are starting unlock tanks in role-based sets. This is a major change already. Not talking about the graphics here at this point, but about just the sets, which is a new introduction here. So instead of a tech tree that we are used to, we can see some sets that are ranging from, here we can see 1 to tier 4, but there are some changes that you're also having to keep in mind here. Like the Hellcat, we are used to that being a tier 7, or I don't know, the Hellcat is a tier 6 in our game, and Super Hellcat is a tier 7, I believe. A1 should be a tier 4. Also, we do have a second set that we can take a look at. Also, the Panzer IV here is a tier 4, and the VK45 here it is tier 4. Right, you cannot see it, it's behind the camera. The VK45 here on the right side is a tier 4 in this game, while it has been tier 8 so far. So we definitely do see a difference here. Let me just get back to the other set as well. Do we see any? So that actually means that tier 7 and tier 8 might end up in tier 4, in a new tier 4. So there is some reworking going on there of the whole set and the tag trees, and also the whole tiers. The tier 1 to 3 which we currently have, they would be before those tanks here even. So they are disappearing then and making it somewhere else. We also have some information about that already in some other place, because Wargaming was also giving us some clues on the Discord server. Some mods have commented occasionally, so we got a little bit of information there. Current levels 1 to 3 will remain in separate sets, but will be rebalanced to play with each other after release. They will likely not be able to be released into battle at release, but will be saved on the account. Okay, what we learn here is that the current tier 1 to 3 will be separate from the new tier 1 to 7 that we are then having. As you can see here on another screen from the teaser, the highest tier will be tier 7. So actually it's going to be just as we're used to, but just that tier 4 to 10 are going to make it into tier 1 to 7. That's the main difference. There's not really any shift there. Tier 1 to 3 is kind of irrelevant to most of us anyways, is not really being played a lot, and that they are in a separate game mode basically that is just kind of irrelevant to our gameplay, but it's, I mean, it does not really matter that much. So I don't really understand some people who have been very enraged about this change there. Okay, change number 2, big change here is commanders. Commanders, as we can see here. Let's just go back immediately because there are some interesting changes here. The commanders are going to either apply to specific tank classes, as here for heavy tanks, or they are like Duncan for all the tank classes, and they are each having some effects on the tank's abilities. We can already see here every third shot increases damage dealt by 8%. So it is kind of like adrenaline, or kind of like a gun rammer, whatever you wanted to call it. And then it's also increased the rate of fire by 3%. So also similar to rammer also, so you're getting some increase in your tank's abilities, and that is also only the first level. As we can see here, there are more levels to it, so that will be having even more of an impact. Let's check the other commander. By the way, just to point it out, we are having many more commanders where we don't have any full information on them yet here. Also Olivia for heavy tanks only increases tanks hit points by 6.5% on the base level. That is also going to have quite some impact. Also guerrilla tactics, I hope I pronounce it correctly. All allies, including players within a 50-meter radius of players' tanks, receive 4% higher accuracy and movement speed. So also that will have an impact on the gameplay, of course, and it is going to be interesting whether those changes are going to be balanced with all those commanders, because there are a lot new commanders, and we don't know if anything else is going to be taken out for that, and how stuff is going to work here with these commanders. They definitely will impact the game quite a lot, and I'm honestly a bit worried that this might just kind of break the meta or so. Stuff will not feel the same because of it. And after all, though, it is, if they don't overdo it, it's a rather small change that hopefully is going to be well balanced. Wargaming, of course, will have to collect a lot of data and will just also test the game just to come out with the best solution there. So actually, I'm not 100% worried about it. I'm not going to panic about it, but still it's some matter of concern to me whether this is going to be great for the game. Also, of course, potentially making it a bit more unpredictable. We don't know. Of course, here Duncan can be used on all tanks. Olivia is only for a tank class, so we can assume that the other commanders are also going to be per tank class only, or some maybe also for all tank classes. So there will be a bit of uncertainty which kind of commander the enemy is running, so you don't exactly know the enemy stats anymore. Of course, we currently also have equipment and stuff which also has this kind of impact, but we will have to see how this balances out with other equipment and consumables that we are having. Moving on. In the garage, of course, we can also see the commanders here standing in front of the T-57. Now the first look at the garage. Actually, we've seen the garage already, but this is the new garage now. And we are getting into a game here. Still, it is some little showcase of a map of Altenstadt, and this is Dead Rail. Yes, Dead Rail also getting reworked quite a lot. There is a kennel again. And we can also see Alpenstadt. This is now the first time that we are seeing the actual gameplay with the new UI. We see that the green team is not green anymore, it's now turquoise. That's also, I mean, rather irrelevant, but apart from that, lots of new graphics here, little nice flowers at the bottom, but otherwise most of it just remains the same. We can see a new reticle. Otherwise, we are used to the cursor in the middle, just like that. And the reticle is similar to what many people have modded already. So some people will be quite interested in that, I guess. Then we see some changes here to the ammunition loadout as well. We are seeing infinite amount of ammunition for AP and HE, so you don't have to worry about running out of ammo anymore. In my opinion, pretty good change. I think that is going to be great. And then also we do have some slight change here to the UI at the bottom, where we do see our commander to the right and all our modules listed. Also the special perks of the commander are being shown here, and that is pretty much it. Also on Dead Rail, we do have a different kind of mini-map, but on the last game, it was the usual mini-map, so I guess that's still work in progress here. But of course also here we do see that the UI changes quite a lot. And still, it's a lot to what we are used to. Also, we can see some tanks jumping around, but I wouldn't be too concerned about how the tanks are behaving. Mostly they behave just as we're used to, but we can also see them flipping over occasionally. Is this going to be any cause of concern? I don't think so, because it looks like they are just getting into place straight away again. Just to look at it again. Here, a tank is flipping over and it's immediately back on the tracks. So, alright, it will be flipping, that's cool, but I don't think it's going to matter all that much. Let's hope that tanks are not flipping over immediately when you run into them. Of course, it could be annoying, and yeah, I'm not too concerned about this. Then we have here also some interesting graphics with the physics that are being introduced here by Unreal Engine. Of course, also those are different to what we are used to. We can see some snow falling. That's super cool, actually. Snow falling from the house as it gets shot there. And yeah, that of course looks a lot more realistic. Of course, it's not a realistic game, but still it looks a lot better than what we're used to from the current Blitz. Also, the water here looks gorgeous in my opinion. Also, destructible elements like walls and stuff. Of course, they are also going to be a lot different to what we're used to. We've already seen this in the last teaser about Unreal Engine that was also covered on this channel already. So also a couple of other questions were already answered by the Discord mods. A couple of those points here have already been massively discussed on the official YouTube channel. But let's just look at this. We are going to not be able to recover tanks anymore. This has been so much criticized as well on my Discord. Already vehicle restore is not going to be possible anymore. But we cannot sell tanks anymore either. So it's not really that drastic after all, because in the end we're not going to lose anything by that. So of course that means that we will have to restore vehicles before we get into the new game. So if you ever sold your tanks, which I usually never recommended, but if you ever sold your tanks, then please get your tanks back. You can write some tickets or just use the in-game function for that. But you're still having a bit of time. This new update is not going to come within the next 3 months. That is also being mentioned here on the FAQ basically. So don't be that concerned about it, don't panic. You will still have some time to restore your tanks, and hopefully you will just be all fine, because the test is going to start soon. If you want to test, by the way, you can also test for yourself. I will still post a link beneath the video here to the official testing registration, and that is also directly from Wargaming. Also, by the way, with a new logo. And yeah, let's take another look here. Rating battles will no longer be. There will be something better. This is a little bit weird because some of it is translated from Russian, as it was posted on the official Russian server. But yeah, rating games also going to be reworked or so we don't exactly know the details there just yet. That might also be different then in the future. Also an interesting comment here, there may be a level 8 in the future. Tier X will become tier 7, so yeah, that will also be something to keep in mind. It is an option here. We don't know about that yet, whether it is coming, when it is coming, stuff like that. I wouldn't mind a tier even better than current tier 10s, but of course it's going to be very tricky to implement with the tank balancing and stuff. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm just going to be indifferent until I have some further information. Free XP will be redesigned as well. Also the elite experience will be reworked as well. So also those resources change there. What else here? Marks of excellency are not worth waiting for now. Voice chat is not worth waiting for now, so nothing planned immediately there. Clans may not be available on the test, but no panic, they are going to come. Matchmaking will change. Okay, don't panic just yet, but only the bot matchmaking, basically the noob matchmaking of players from 0 to 5,000 games, that is going to be reworked or removed. So we have some changes upcoming there that are hopefully good ones. We don't have exact details on those yet, but it would be nice if it was a bit of a smoother transition there between the noob matchmaking and the actual matchmaking, and maybe just rerolls not really being at such an advantage in bot matchmaking. That would also be nice. I mean, it is nice, of course, to farm some stats in bot matchmaking for some people, but after all, that is against the purpose of playing the game, and also the beginners don't want to face super experienced players and get wrecked all the time. That is not what Wargaming wants them. Alright, what else do we have here? Ranks may be redesigned. Okay, who even cares about ranks? So that's absolutely fine. Newcomers will start with a set of new tanks. Not exactly sure how to understand this, what it sounds like. There will be kind of beginner sets as well, and you have to unlock the other sets then. Mirage and Lost Temple will return, but later than the release of UE5. New Himmelsdorf is not ready yet, even on a new engine, so okay, we're still going to get some new maps, of course, but mainly Wargaming has been working on just simply improving the graphics and getting the old maps implemented on the new engine. Nonetheless, the test is going to include 15 maps in total, and we still don't know how many there are going to be on release. Keep that in mind, really. Everything that is being tested right now, all the information that we're having so far might not be final yet. There might still be changes. This is an early stage of testing, even earlier than the usual open test that we are getting. I mean, mostly it's just 1 month before the final release. This one is at least 3 months before the final release, so still a lot of changes possible there. Apart from that, customization will be changed, attachments on the tank will be able to be moved. Alright, that actually also sounds good. No new collaborations are planned before the release of the game on UE5. Okay, I personally don't really care about the collaborations that much, but hey, for 3 months everyone will be able to survive that. Seasons will be added later than the release as well, so nothing too fancy right on release yet. I hope it's not going to be 100% minimal and just not containing everything that you are used to and that we all laugh about the game. Moving on, containers will remain, of course, the most important stuff for wargaming. Animations for them will be like the locked ones now. Okay, graphics and other settings will become more flexible. Also big up here, because graphics settings are very important to those players who just don't have the best settings or so, and don't have the best devices or so. There will be no general chat, but chat with friends will remain. Okay, as an EU player, I'm used to that. I had my chat turned off for a long time anyways. Some of you might be very concerned about what device is actually going to be capable of running it. Wargaming has also answered this question on Discord. So if you are interested in that, then read here. iPhone 7 is still supported, so very old iPhones. Even Wargaming definitely does not want to cut off anyone in the player base. So don't panic again. It will be fine. It will be fine. We don't have any final information yet, but I don't think it's on time to already be worried about the changes. So what is my take on this? There's a lot of interesting stuff coming, which I'm looking forward to, especially the graphics. The commanders might be nice, but they can also be unbalanced as hell. There is a big risk attached to this kind of change, of course, because it is quite major. We don't know about the exact balancing yet, so I really don't want to lose my mind about it yet. Then also we have the new physics with tanks tumbling over and stuff that can be great, can be looking nice, but as well it can be hindering the gameplay a little bit. I don't know exactly how that is going to work out in the final release yet, if the physics are going to be pretty much as we're used to. But still, Wargaming has assured us that they don't want to ruin the game, they don't want to change the game completely. They want to have it very similar to the original Blitz, just with better graphics and some additional stuff on top, and to make it future-proof, basically, to have it up to date with other similar games. And therefore I'm also not really too concerned with some slightly cartoonish features that are a bit more fantasy-like. Of course, some people will be really bothered with those who do love realistic tanks. Mostly I also love the realistic tanks, but to me this is not a historical game, rather an arcade game that contains some historical elements, and therefore I don't really mind some commanders that are jumping around a little bit. I don't know, I don't really think that is going to bother too much. We don't see those commanders constantly, and they are just some illustrations, just bringing in some personality into the game. You know, maybe at some point we are going to get some World of Tanks Blitz cosplay party based on the commanders then. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up, please. See you soon.